the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean lies a story shrouded in mystery and tragedy, yet brimming with courage and resilience. Join us on a gripping journey as we unravel the enigmatic tale of South African Airways Flight 295. What began as a routine flight from Taiwan to South Africa on November 27, 1987, soon transformed into a harrowing ordeal that captivated the world's attention. As we delve into the depths of this fateful flight, prepare to be immersed in a compelling narrative of human perseverance amidst the unforgiving forces of nature and the quest for answers that continues to echo through the corridors of aviation history. Strap in as we embark on a voyage through time and turbulence, exploring the enduring legacy of Flight 295. At noon on November 27, 1987, Chiang Kai-shek International Airport in Taipei, Taiwan, was abuzz with activity as South African Airways Flight 295 prepared for departure. Against the backdrop of a crisp autumn day, ground crews diligently attended to the Boeing 747, ensuring every detail was meticulously checked and double-checked. From loading cargo to conducting final safety inspections, the airport staff worked efficiently to ensure the smooth operation of the flight. Inside the terminal, passengers gathered with a mix of excitement and anticipation, eager to embark on their journey to Johannesburg. Little did they know, this seemingly routine departure would soon be overshadowed by a series of events that would leave an indelible mark on aviation history. Chiang Kai-shek International Airport in Taipei stands as a bustling testament to Taiwan's status as a global crossroads. Serving as the island's premier gateway to the world, this modern and efficient airport welcomes travelers, with its sleek architecture and state-of-the-art facilities. From the moment passengers step foot into its terminals, they are greeted by a flurry of activity, with bustling crowds and bustling departures and arrivals boards showcasing destinations near and far. The aircraft involved in the event was a Boeing 747-244BM Combi, bearing the registration ZSS-SAS and named Helderberg. This particular aircraft, the 488th built 747, completed its maiden flight on 12 November 1980 and was subsequently delivered to South African Airways, SAA, on 24 November 1980. The Boeing 747-200B Combi model, as utilized in this flight, allowed for the blending of passengers and cargo on the main deck, in adherence to load factors specific to each route and Class B cargo compartment regulations. For Flight 295, the main deck accommodated 140 passengers alongside 6 pallets of cargo. A total of 47,000 kilograms, 104,000 lb of baggage and cargo were loaded onto the aircraft. Notably, observations of the flight crew prior to takeoff indicated a relaxed demeanor, with no apparent concerns expressed regarding the cargo, as they appeared happy to fly. The commander of Flight 295 was Dawid Jacobus Uys, a 49-year-old former South African Air Force pilot boasting a significant aviation background. With a total flight time of 13,843 hours, of which 3,884 hours were specifically on Boeing 747 series aircraft, Uys was widely regarded as professional and proficient by his peers. Interestingly, at the time of the incident, he contemplated retiring to pursue a position with the South African Pilots Association. Assisting Uys were First Officer David Atwell, age 36, and Relief First Officer Jeffrey Birchall, age 37. Both seasoned aviators with 7,262 and 8,149 hours of flight experience respectively, including substantial time spent on Boeing 747s. Additionally, the flight crew included 45-year-old flight engineer Giuseppe Joe Bellagarda and 34-year-old relief flight engineer Alan Daniel, boasting 7,804 and 1,495 hours of experience respectively, with a portion of those hours dedicated to Boeing 747 operations. A total of 159 passengers were on board, comprising 30 Taiwanese citizens, 19 South Africans, 47 Japanese nationals, along with 2 Mauritian, 1 Danish, 1 Dutch, 1 British, and 1 West German passenger. Notably among them was Kazuharu Sonoda, a renowned Japanese professional wrestler also recognized as Haru Sonoda and Magic Dragon, accompanied by his wife, embarking on their honeymoon journey. Their presence on the flight stemmed from an invitation extended by the president of All Japan Pro Wrestling, Giant Baba, who arranged for their travel to participate in a wrestling event in South Africa, organized by fellow wrestler Tiger Jeet Singh. At 14:23 UTC, 22:23 local time, on November 27, 1987, Flight 295 departed from Taipei's Chiang Kai-shek International Airport en route to Johannesburg with a planned stopover in Mauritius. "34 minutes after departure, the flight crew reached out to Hong Kong Air Traffic Control, seeking clearance to proceed from waypoint Ilado, 22-19 and 170-30E to Eisbahn. At 15:03:25, a position report was relayed over Ilado, followed by waypoint Sunek at 15:53:52, Admark at 16:09:54, and Sukar, 12-2N, 110-54E at 16:34:47. Additionally, a routine communication was established with the SAA base in Johannesburg at 15:55:18. The journey unfolded smoothly, devoid of any unusual occurrences. Passengers relaxed in their seats, enjoying the routine flight, while the crew efficiently tended to their needs. From the outside, the aircraft glided seamlessly through the sky, appearing just like any other routine flight. Approximately 9 hours into the flight, the flight proceeds normally with the relief crew at the helm. Less than an hour before reaching Mauritius, a smoke alarm sounds in the cockpit, indicating a fire in the cargo hold. Shortly thereafter, flight attendants discover a raging fire in the cargo area. Immediately following, flight crew initiates the in-flight fire checklist while attendants attempt to extinguish the fire. Shortly thereafter, smoke begins filling the cabin, impairing passengers' breathing. Shortly thereafter, fire damages control cables and causes electrical failures. Around the same time, Captain AIWAYS declares an emergency and initiates an emergency descent to 14,000 feet. Around the same time, communication with Mauritius Air Traffic Control is established.
Mauritius, Springbok 295.
Springbok 295, Mauritius, good morning, go ahead.
Good morning, we have a smoke problem and we're doing emergency descent to level 140.
Around the same time, crew member opens 2 cabin doors to ventilate smoke. Meanwhile, smoke fills the cockpit, hindering communication. Shortly thereafter, air traffic control loses contact with Flight 295.
0030.
0030, thank you.
Oxygen lead.
Sorry, second please.
The fire began to destroy the aircraft's important electrical systems, resulting in loss of communication and control of the aircraft. At exactly 07 UTC, 4:07 local time, the aircraft broke apart in midair, the tail section breaking off first due to the fire beginning to burn the structure of the aircraft, and crashed into the Indian Ocean, about 134 nautical miles, 154 May, 248 kilometers from the airport. Flight 295 tragically experienced a mid-air breakage, resulting in a devastating plunge into the depths of the Indian Ocean, claiming the lives of all passengers and crew aboard. Flight 295's final communication with Plaisance Air Traffic Control led to a misunderstanding of its position, resulting in search efforts being focused too close to Mauritius. Despite immediate search and rescue operations conducted by the United States Navy and the French Navy, the wreckage was only located 12 hours after impact, with debris and bodies found far from the initial impact location. Tragically, there were no survivors. Following the recovery of the wreckage from a depth of 4,000 meters below the ocean's surface, the aircraft's fuselage and cabin interior were partially reassembled at Jan Smuts Airport. It was then examined and made available for viewing to South African Airways staff and selected members of the public. After the crash of Flight 295, South Africa's chief crash investigator, Rennie Van Zyl, examined wristwatches recovered from baggage, 2 of which were still running on Taiwan time. This led Van Zyl to estimate the time of impact at approximately 07 Duur, just 3 minutes after the last communication with air traffic control. Initial suspicions of terrorism arose in the aftermath of the crash, fueled by South Africa's history of domestic and international terrorism, targeting institutions like South African Airways, SAA. However, experts found no evidence of explosive devices upon examining wreckage. Blood samples from recovered bodies indicated that some passengers had died from smoke inhalation before the crash, suggesting that even if the pilots had managed to land the aircraft safely, lives would still have been lost. South Africa initiated Operation Resolve, a comprehensive underwater search to locate the wreckage. Despite challenges posed by the deep ocean and limited capabilities of the flight recorder's underwater locator beacons, ULBs, the wreckage was eventually found within 2 days of the search's commencement by the specialist recovery company Steadfast Oceaneering. 3 separate debris fields, spaced apart by 1.5 kilometers, 0.93 ME, 2.3 kilometers, 1.4 ME, and 2.5 kilometer, 1.6 ME, indicated mid-air breakup of the aircraft, possibly with the tail separating first. Despite successful salvage of the cockpit voice recorder, CVR, from a record depth of 4,900 meters, 6,100 FT, by the remotely operated vehicle, ROV, Gemini, the flight data recorder was never recovered. South Africa's chief crash investigator, Rennie Van Zyl, transported the CVR to the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, in Washington, D.C., for analysis, believing it necessary to ensure impartial scrutiny and avoid accusations of bias. Although the degraded CVR initially provided limited insights, it revealed the extent of the fire on board. Investigation centered on a front right pallet in the cargo hold, primarily containing computers and polystyrene packaging, which likely ignited gases produced by the packaging, leading to a flash fire that engulfed the entire cargo hold. While the official report speculated on the possibility of batteries exploding or spontaneously combusting as a contributing factor, no conclusive cause for the fire was determined. The Margot Commission, chaired by South African Judge Cecil Margot, alongside representatives from the NTSB and Boeing, investigated the crash of Flight 295. They determined that a fire in the cargo hold led to the aircraft's loss, with temperatures exceeding 300 degrees, 570 degrees, causing severe damage. The commission couldn't conclusively identify the fire's origin, but suggested smoke inhalation incapacitated the crew, or the fire weakened the structure, causing the tail to separate. Inadequate fire detection and suppression facilities in the Class B cargo bays were cited as the primary cause. Boeing's fire test didn't accurately replicate Flight 295's conditions, highlighting flaws in the combi's design. Consequently, after the accident, SAA discontinued the use of the combi, and new FAA regulations were introduced in 1993 to improve fire safety standards in cargo compartments. Various theories surrounding the tragic fate of Flight 295 have emerged, each grounded in realism and backed by evidence from the investigation. One prevailing theory suggests that a fire broke out in the cargo hold, likely originating from a malfunction or ignition source within the cargo itself. This theory is supported by the discovery of fire-damaged debris and the presence of extreme temperatures indicative of a significant onboard blaze. Additionally, evidence of smoke inhalation in recovered bodies suggests that the crew and passengers faced hazardous conditions before the aircraft's demise. Another theory posits that the fire compromised the structural integrity of the aircraft, leading to a catastrophic mid-air breakup. This notion is bolstered by findings of severe damage to critical systems and components, potentially rendering the crew unable to maintain control. Both theories underscore the importance of adequate fire detection and suppression measures in aircraft design, highlighting a critical aspect of aviation safety that warrants continuous improvement and vigilance. In 1996, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, TRC, established by South Africa's post-apartheid government, probed into apartheid-era atrocities, including an investigation into Flight 295. The TRC sought to address conspiracy theories, suggesting that the Margot Commission had overlooked evidence implicating the previous regime. Forensic investigator David Klatzow was invited to present his theories and question witnesses during a closed-door session, criticizing the civil aviation authorities' involvement in the flawed official inquiry. Despite public controversy, the TRC concluded that nothing listed in the flight manifest could have caused the fire. In 2000, under public pressure, TRC records were released, prompting Transport Minister Dula Omar to announce a potential reopening of the inquiry if new evidence emerged. However, in 2002, the minister announced that no such evidence had been found. On the 25th anniversary of the crash, Peter Otson JNR, a victim's son, sought to reopen the investigation, citing affidavits from former SAA employees alleging that Flight 295 carried rocket fuel and was ordered to fly despite safety concerns raised by the captain. However, these claims were disputed by SAA's Taiwan manager, Tinus Jacobs, who asserted that the crew appeared routine and relaxed before departure. In 2014, investigative journalist Mark D. Young proposed a theory suggesting that a short circuit in the onboard electronics could have initiated the fire aboard Flight 295. This phenomenon, known as wet arc tracking, occurs when moisture interacts with damaged insulation on live wires, leading to a leakage current and potential difference between wires. The resulting flashover can generate temperatures exceeding $5,000 degrees, $9,000 North, ample to ignite the thermal acoustic insulation blankets used until the late 1990s. Young drew parallels to the Swissair Flight 111 disaster in 1998, where a similar short circuit was believed to have caused a catastrophic fire on board the aircraft.